Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Novichkov, Senior Trading Manager with GDM. Today's outlook, we're starting with the Asian equity markets. They ended mostly higher on Monday on optimism that European officials will soon agree on a third bailout deal for Greece. Focus in Asia also remains on China trade figures, which showed exports rising 2.8% from a year earlier, beating, of course, the expectations of 0.2% fall. Despite the positive data, customs officials warned that exports are likely to face relatively big pressure in the upcoming months. And as we're looking at mainline shares, they jumped more than 2%, extending gains after ending last week 6% higher as investors cheered Beijing's recent market boosting measures. That's like the ban on state firms from selling holdings. The Shanghai Composite Index even briefly breached the 4K level mark for the first time since 2nd of July. Japanese stocks got also a little boost after posting a near 4% loss for the week ending Friday, despite a slightly stronger currency. The yen strengthened to 122 per dollar in early trade as investors flocked to the safe haven assets. Also, looking at the Australia's S&P 200 index, it erased gains in afternoon trade, extending losses after ending last week with 1% loss. The euro fell on Monday, hurt by uncertainty over whether a near-bankrupt Greece can secure more funding as its European partners demanded tough reforms in return for throwing a lifeline to the debt-strapped nation. The euro last traded at 1.1145, down 0.2% on the day. Earlier on Monday, it had slid as far as 1.1090, having stood at 1.1162 in late US trade on Friday. Greece was told to push legislation through Parliament this week to convince its eurozone creditors to release funds to avert a state bankruptcy and, of course, start negotiations on a third bailout program estimated at about 86 billion euros. All-night talks between Greek government and eurozone leaders have resulted in a reform for aid deal for the debt-stricken country. European lenders in Brussels have reached a third bailout deal for Greece on Monday morning after more than 17 hours of talks on the thorny subject of reforms and more financial aid for the near-bankrupt country. Bond yields in Italy and Spain fell to session lows after the comments, and of course the euro reversed earlier losses to hit the day's high of 1.1173. The Pan-European Stock 600 index opened also 0.8% higher. Gold in the commodity sector briefly edged lower on Monday, dragged down by the euro after a weekend emergency summit, and of course with the US Federal Reserve still on track to raise interest rates this year. Spot gold was off 0.2% at 1161.1 an ounce in the Asian session after falling for the third straight week. Also a drag on gold were signals from Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen on Friday, suggesting that the US Central Bank is on course to raise interest rates within this year. China's June crude oil imports rose 27% on year. Customs data showed on Monday, putting the world's second larger economy into contention against for topping the United States as the biggest buyer on the commodity on international markets. Data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, of course, showed that U.S. crude imports in the 4-week to July 3rd totaled about just slightly 7 million barrels per day, although the data has not yet been compiled into monthly reports for May and June as well. That's all for today. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.